Hey, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's good to see you. So today we're going to be talking about modeling. And if you haven't checked out my previous video, because it is a series, you feel free to do it. I've already done a video about my own modeling experience, how I got into modeling, what mistakes I did, what went well, etc. So feel free to check that out. But in this video today, we're going to be talking about how you can, kickstart your career, your modeling career, get into it. I know that lots of people are dreaming about becoming a model, and it is, it has some really good sides to it. It is not as easy as most people think it is. But I am a big believer that if you have a dream and you think that this is what you want to do, you should definitely try and go for it. And this is why I'm here. I'm going to share with you some of the tips and advice that I can think of, and things that I wish someone would have told me when I first started modeling. Okay, so the first thing you have to identify is what kind of type are you. This means there are 3 different types. There is high fashion, commercial, and sort of special or extra, what I would call, types of modeling. And high fashion is a very typical one that you would see on catwalks, on billboards, the advertising fashion brands usually. And you do have to be relatively tall, at least 5'10", pretty slim as well, and you have to have kind of very edgy sort of face. You have to look good when you are grumpy. That's how I would call it. So you have this really sexy grumpy face. This is the look for you. And then there is a commercial one, which is much more approachable, likable. You don't have to be a stall, because they don't really use you for catwalks. It's more either TV commercials or billboards, or any kind of like advertising. So you don't have to be super tall, but you have to have a very nice, approachable, smiley face. And if you have some acting experience, that's very, very helpful as well. And the third type is when you are say maybe none of the above, but you have some kind of something special about you. For example, there are agencies that represent very tattooed people, got tattoos all over their body or face even, or there is a special agency that represents twins or even disabled people. Like, there are very, 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 lots of different niche modeling agencies as well that are worth looking into. And if that doesn't appeal to you or doesn't apply to you, you can still do something. You can apply to an extra agency. And there are lots of extra agencies that are doing TV, film, but they occasionally even do music videos, or even TV commercials. So I, for example, got a TV commercial for Google for one of these extra agencies, and it was pretty well paid as well. Right, so what happens once you have identified what kind of person you are? And I really want you to be very, very honest to yourself. It won't help you if you pretend to be a high fashion model, but in reality, you are much kind of smiley and, more commercial in a way. So really try to be honest to yourself. Maybe talk to your friends about it, to your partner, and ask for their opinion as well. So once you've done that, you could take according steps. So if you think that you are, a high fashion model, you're very tall, very slim, you have a very edgy bone structure, facial bone structure, I would recommend you to apply directly to agencies. And on my blog, I've done a blog post about it, and I've listed lots of different agencies you can apply for. So I'm going to include the link in the description box, so feel free to check it out. It'll just save you the time of going for all those for Google basically and trying to find the best modeling agencies to apply to. But yeah, just go for it. When you send your pictures, no makeup or very, very minimal makeup, and very simple clothes. If you believe that you are a commercial model and things look a bit different for you, you can try and apply for agencies, but in my experience it is a bit difficult. They do want you to have already a portfolio set up. So if you believe that you're more like me, like a smiley face, not particularly tall, not super skinny, you'd rather scout some photographers and do some freelance TFP shoots. TFP means time for print, so you can find photographers who are willing to take your pictures for free, and in exchange they'll be allowed to keep the pictures as well and use them for their own portfolio. So it works if both the photographer and the model are building up their portfolio and are trying to grow their career. But yeah, I'll talk more about TFP later. We can talk for that. So yeah, build up your portfolio, try and do as many different photo shoots and styles as possible, and then after that you can either freelance or you can apply to a more sort of commercial modeling agency. I've also have put together a list for you, so feel free to check it out. And the third one is there are tons and tons of TV and film extra agencies. I've created a huge list for you, and for them you don't actually need to have a portfolio. So you apply, if they accept you, they just go to their studios, they take pictures of you, and they'll have it in their books, and you don't really have to do anything about it anymore. So next I'd like to talk to you about getting work as a model. So there are two different things you can do. First, if you get signed with an agency, that's amazing, congratulations. You might get an exclusive contract with an agency, which is great as well, because they'll be really pushing you and trying to get you to as many castings as possible, and they'll also be trying to negotiate your salary. So if you're exclusive, it's a good way for you to try and establish your career and your positioning. If you do get signed, try and attend as many castings as possible. It is in your in your interest to get as many jobs as possible. They will also try and help you to build a portfolio. So you will probably in the beginning do a few test shoots. Which is okay, because they have really good connections usually with top photographers who will be shooting for them. Sometimes they pay those photographers and then they will take out the fee for the photographers out of your first job. Never ever pay any agency in advance for anything. This is not professional. This is not a good agency. Stay away from them. I've done it once before, and it didn't work. I really burned myself on that, so I really advise you not to do it. So also build up a relationship with your booker. Bookers are also people, they are not machines. They won't know automatically. They will know automatically which girl is good for which job, but it helps if you keep reminding them that you are still there on their book. Sometimes they might forget you, they're really busy. Just be like, if you haven't heard anything from them in 1 or 2 weeks, be like, hey, I'm available. Feel free to send me to castings if anything is suitable. So yeah, keep that conversation going with your booker. What happens if you don't get signed? Well, it's not the end of the world. You can start by freelancing. You should definitely start by building up your portfolio with the TFP shoots I've been talking about. Sometimes you might get lucky and you might even get paid for your first sort of modeling shoots or jobs. So that's exciting stuff. When you do freelance, there are a few really good websites like Stana, Model Ma'am, and Purple Porn. No, that's not the right one. Purple Port. I'm personally only using Stana and Model Ma'am. I think Purple Port is more literally for building up your portfolio and doing all sorts of creative collaborations. Sometimes lately I've been finding jobs on Facebook. There are Facebook groups for photographers, models, etc., and they're actually posting jobs on there sometimes as well. So it's all about networking, really, when you're a freelancer. And I do encourage you, though, once you do build up your portfolio, to still apply to maybe some commercial agencies. That happened to me. I first didn't get accepted to lots of applied to lots of different agencies, and nobody wanted me. And they just said I don't have enough experience, and that it's for them also like an investment in time, etc. But once I built up my portfolio, I got requests actually from agencies to go and join their books. So work on it. So yeah, this is my tips about getting work. What I've also like to talk to you about is your portfolio, so how to build it up. As I said, you can contact photographers and ask them to do TFP projects with you, so they get pictures, you get pictures for your portfolios, and nobody pays anyone, so both parties invest their time. When you're looking for photographers, be very, very careful who you work with. I would really recommend not to do any nude lingerie, because once you've done those pictures, it's going to be very, very difficult for you to kind of like raise your level again, unless nudity, etc., is what you want to do. But personally, I would stay away from it, especially in the beginning. Take a good look at their portfolio, what they've already done. There are lots of photographers who think they're photographers, but honestly, I think I can take better pictures sometimes. So I would suggest you not to pay for building up your portfolio, just because the kind of photographers who do charge for that, they are more commercialized in a way. They just do pictures for families or kids or weddings, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's usually not the right type of photos that you'd like to have for your portfolio, so be careful with that. Ideally, if there are any photographers who's done any kind of magazine shoots or any proper work before, try and contact them and be super friendly, be like, hey, I'd love to collaborate. Sometimes photographers even are actively looking for models, to collaborate with them for a TFP project. Just apply to these jobs. It'll be much easier for you to get it, rather than actively, creating an advert that you're looking for a TFP shoot. So that about building up your portfolio. And the other tip I've got is probably you should consider moving to a big city, to a capital like London, New York, Paris or Milan, because I know from experience, when I was living in Germany and I was living in a small town, I didn't get any castings. There's just nothing going on in there. So all the castings are taking place in big cities. You're going to make it very, very hard for yourself if you don't move to a big capital, basically. And one last tip I've got for you is, if you do get signed with an agency, feel free to ask them to send you abroad for a sort of international modeling experience. It will look good on their books, because they'll be like, hey, we've got models who are traveling internationally, etc., etc. And how that works is that usually your mother agency, how they call it, has links and connections to other agencies across the different countries, and they can organize for you to move, for example, to New York for 6 months, or even Turkey sometimes, or even China sometimes, and work there through another agency, and like that you get international modeling experience, and it will just boost your career a lot. So yeah, that's it from me. I really hope that it was very useful for you. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask me, and I'm there for you. I really want you to succeed, and I hope that you enjoyed the video. Feel free to subscribe to my channel. As I said as well, check out my blog post. I've created those lists of modeling agencies for you, and there are lots of other tips that I've compiled in my blog post, so check it out, it's in the description box, and I hope to see you soon. Bye!